welcome new viewers, Bongino Army, who just came over from Vince's show. Also, JD Vance, some nice alcoholism jokes aimed at former Vice President Kamala Harris. I appreciate that. That guy's flicking the jab out, seeing what we're all about. This is the last week, of course, that we are live at all on YouTube. Monday, the 24th, is D-Day. We are canceling YouTube, and this is part of the new approach, the reimagining of a platform on Rumble. The lineup: you get Evita, you get Vince, then it rolls right into me, Tim Pool next week, Russell Brand, Jeremy at the Quartering, and Viva Fry. All you need to do is download the app and just keep watching. We appreciate it. And today, well, we'll be talking about domestic terrorism. And is everyone here an anti-Semite or a Zionist shill? Perhaps both. Enjoy a word from our sponsors, it's really just Rumble.
Hi, I'm YouTube. Hate speech is not allowed on YouTube. Our policy doesn't allow content that could potentially incite hatred against individuals or groups based on any of the following protected attributes: caste, ethnicity or race, sex, gender or sexual orientation, disability, immigration status, age,
Say hello to the devil for me! I don't even know the devil! You're gonna get destroyed for this! I'll be there soon.
YouTube is dead. Rumble did it. Watch the new Rumble Live lineup Monday through Friday, including Louder with Crowder at our new time, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Miss Wojcicki.
Who got your account back up? It was probably that half-Asian lawyer of yours. He's always good at fighting copyright strikes. We should probably talk in the... Is this what you want, Stephen? To point a crossbow at your precious Susan Wojcicki while she sits on a toilet? I'm just surprised it's not a Walther.
It would be both historically and creatively inaccurate. You've always wanted me off YouTube, haven't you?
Yes, but you refuse to let it go. I respect that. Even admire it. You fight for what's yours. I'd never permanently delete your channel. Is that what you fear? You're far too much fun to permanently take out. You and your temper tantrums every time we ban your live streams.
You broke them.
What?
I found them in pieces. Shattered.
Oh. Your gifts for those Mug Club fools.
Tried to glue them back together with my own
They're
hand.
just stupid cups.
Say that word again.
And what? You'll kill the only meal ticket you have?
You hit me with false copyright violations when you knew I hadn't violated any rules. Why?
Hold up. Let me finish. And we can talk this over in my office.
I can't go back there. The mugs are in.
What? Are you afraid of a few broken cups? You'll never hit 4 million subscribers.
I will hit 4 million. I was always going to hit 4 million.
I just wanted to take a shit.
It's free, it's live, there's no reason to go anywhere else. YouTube is dead, and Rumble did it. Rumble, we own live. Again, welcome, viewers of Vince Bongino Army. You are watching the lineup which is going now on 4 days. #1 place for streaming on Earth. Exclusive here on Rumble. The lineup, we appreciate you tuning in. For those of you who are confused, that was in fact a parody of Game of Thrones, in which there was the figurative crossbowing of former CEO Susan Wojcicki and pee-pee poo-poo.
May she rest in peace.
For people who don't watch Game of Thrones, I just always, why are there so many scenes in like a bathhouse and there's a butt for no reason?
Well,
and that was the basis of it. It was a while back.
Some people don't like the fart humor, but I'm here for it.
I'm okay. Yeah. Well, you're part German. We all are. So, which brings us to what we will discuss today. Am I, or is anyone here, an anti-Semite or a Zionist shill? I think maybe it's both, because it seems now that everyone is saying you're either entirely an anti-Semite or you're entirely a Zionist shill. Seems to me that most of you line up in a way that is quite reasonable. And I don't even mean moderate. I mean mainstream. Talk about that. Domestic terrorism is on the rise. You guys know about the swatting. You know about the firebombing, the vandalism of the Tesla dealerships, what is going on. And I know controversial character who, by the way, spent quite a bit of time with this White House, even on Air Force One. Laura Loomer has some exclusive money trails that she will be talking about today, including some issues with one Mr. George Soros.
what?
Yeah. So she's been doing some
He was behind 9/11.
some pretty good investigative
JFK?
journalism. Yeah, all of it. I
He's
think
in the files?
I have no idea. So if at some point today, this is the last 2 days, today and tomorrow, if you're watching on YouTube, dear Lord, why you see this, head on over to Rumble. The lineup, Rumble exclusive, start 8 a.m., 9 a.m., all the way through 4, and pretty soon that's going to be the entire day. We are here at 11 a.m. Eastern. Send us your questions for Laura Loomer, who's been tracking this domestic terrorism, and we'll be asking her that later in the show. CEO, Captain Morgan, thank you for being here. Josh Firestine, not _Firestine on X.
Hello.
I like the shirt. Are those lemons?
This is my party shirt, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, these are lemons. I think one's a tangerine. It's a little darker, but
Oh, I see.
It's a
could be the
lemon
bleach
party
I'm
shirt?
using.
It's the odd one out.
boy.
You know what? But hey, Tangerine, you keep working at it. You'll become a lemon one day. Don't be afraid to dream big.
That's got to be something bad, a lemon party, right?
Stop it. He
I
doesn't
don't
even know what he's saying.
He does. He knows exactly
No,
what he's
I know.
saying.
Noodles
and he's like,
was
"Whoa,
the
that must
bad
be a bad thing, right? Oh, a bunch of gay old dudes having a
Most people don't know what a lemon party is. Stop it! 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 Stop! Stop! Guys, we're starting the show. Do this later.
We used to do when I was a private in the
I'm a
Army.
professional.
We'd go around if someone left their laptop open, we'd change their screensaver to the.
Okay.
picture.
All right. All right.
They come back. Hey, who did this?
We all remember the internet trinity from back in the early aughts. I know Noodles does because he lives in that depraved world. We didn't want it, but it was thrust upon us. Speaking of knowing exactly what they are doing. Look, I have been very hard on millennials, my generation, for quite a while. But there's plenty of hatred from me to go around. Because liberal white women, namely white American women with college degrees, are obviously the most corrosive voting demographic in this country. Doesn't mean everyone, okay? I want to be very clear, but it is the only voting demographic in this country that could possibly elect another Democrat. And NBC News seemed surprised by this consistent, irrefutable statistic.
And you also see this. White women with at least a college degree, the only group of white voters that really kind of is on the left politically, aligned with progressive causes, democratic politics.
You
Give
don't
me an example
say.
here. It's that DEI question, right here.
Look at
that
this.
we asked about in our poll. We had two big statements we read to voters. Basically, do you want to continue DEI programs or do you think they should be ended? And again, look at this divide here. White men, no degree, end it. White men with a degree, end it, they say. White women, no degree, end it, they say by double. DEI. It's that group of white voters in particular who are aligned on the progressive side, who are aligned politically, we see, with the Democrats, and who
Pause
are
it, Tim.
important in
Pause it,
pushing
Tool
the
Man.
Democrats.
Okay, I want to keep that up there. Look at that spread. The only demographic that supports continuing DEI programs in this country, and then it's by a huge margin, 68%. Talking about white women with college degrees. Goes 25, 40, 43, 68%. A huge jump. Do you think that's just happenstance? And I don't want to get conspiratorial. We'll do a credit conspiracy later. I'm not being conspiratorial here. This is a brilliant ploy that started with feminism. The idea that a college degree equals education or equals intelligence, I think we've done away with that, right? You can comment below. But isn't it brilliant when you had feminism telling women, hey, find yourself, get out of the house, find your self-worth in the workplace. Oh, and by the way, you'll get ahead in the workplace if you go to college. By the way, let's make all of these professors Marxist professors, please. Mm-hmm. So we've put women through indoctrination factories. We've destroyed the nuclear family unit, and women are less happy. We see the divorce rate, and we see the voting patterns. Do you think that's an accident? Let me give you some stats here. The percentage of white women who had college degrees. Before feminism, it was about 12%. And again, it was lower across the board. Men were about 17%. After feminism, today it's about 47% of women. It's about 37% of men. Wow. And look, I want to be clear about this because I know you watching. You're a woman. There are plenty of women who watch. Okay, you're saying, not me. I get it. And if you are a conservative white woman in 2025, you have to be informed, right? People who come up and they recognize us from the show, they're often black, they're often Latino, they're often women, because you've had to do some research. The issue is that white women in college, they're indoctrinated in college, and then when the type of programming, like every single rom-com, reality TV, women's magazine, the TikTokers you watch, they tell you to think one way. A feminist white woman in the country today is taking every position by default. It's very, very different from being a conservative woman. You have to come to the conclusion that you are pro-life. You have to come to the conclusion that you believe in strong immigration policy. You do not, as a white, privileged, college-educated woman. You're told to think that. The issue is that, please, good conservative women, bring back shame. You need to shame your friends the way that guys shame our friends. I mean, the equivalent would be like, okay, we'll role play here. Careful. We'll role play, and you'll play like a liberal guy. Hey, do that. Whatever the female equivalent is. Okay?
I don't know that there is one. That's the problem.
It starts with that. Bring back shame. Only you can change it.
There is a female equivalent of that. Like,
what?
Oh, you're voting for Kamala Harris? I love that for you.
Yes. Perfect. Exactly. You know, the passive-aggressive manipulative way that you're so brilliant.
That is an uneducated position to take. You're right.
Yeah, someone like you would need $25,000 to buy a house.
Yeah, or like, well, no, I guess I could understand that vote if I were in your situation too.
Yeah.
The eyes at the end.
Speaking of which, okay, millennials, obviously been a huge problem. I hate it when people say, okay, boomer. It's very disrespectful. I get it. But we have to address an elephant in the room here with boomers, that generation, unfortunately, being very selfish, going from the most liberal generation ever to most conservative generation ever with Ronald Reagan to back to being liberal in this last election. How does that happen? Well, you don't want to go to Vietnam when you're young, and so it's a selfish motive. Then you want to keep more of your tax dollars when you're in the workforce. Ronald Reagan, it's a selfish motive. And now it's like, oh, yeah, but I want my Social Security. Great. It doesn't work that way. We're paying in. We won't get it. This is why you're seeing an age divide right now. And I'm just saying this because, please, I hope that if you're in that, speak out against it. Only you can deal with your own ranks. So the New York Times just put out this, I believe, this polling here from the election.
Yeah.
And they are in complete disbelief as to how young people, Gen Z, younger than millennials, shifted to Trump and boomers shifted to Harris Walls.
But if you look at this chart among white men who were 75 years old,
boo, white men,
supported Kamala Harris at a significantly higher rate than white men who are 20 years old.
That's exactly right.
That's a real shift.
It is a real shift. This is the thing I am the most shocked by, I think, in the last 4 years.
Willard?
Is that young people have gone from being the most progressive generation since the baby boomers, and maybe in some ways more so, to becoming potentially the most conservative, generation that we've experienced, maybe in 50 to 60 years.
Here's one note. This generation is more conservative while they are young. That hasn't been seen really in half a century.
Yes. But
it's yours to lose, conservatives.
Yeah, but I will say that you did call this.
Huh?
Come let Zoltar tell you more.
I'm gonna hit the next pitch ball right past the flag.
We're gonna win the game, I guarantee.
So Generation Z, you guys need to know this, is the most conservative generation to have come along in decades. And I think Generation Z is going to be more conservative than any generation prior to them, honestly. And for the first time, at least in the last half a century, we're seeing people in that young demographic, namely young males, identifying as conservative.
Come, let Zoltar tell you more. I'm gonna hit the next pitch ball right past the flag.
We're gonna win the game, I guarantee.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I want to go back to something you said, and we've made this point before, and I think it's good. You said that colleges are telling them, here's how to think. No, they're telling them, here's how to feel.
Well, they're telling them, here's what to think, and here's how to feel.
I just feel like it's all this based on kind of feeling good, because none of these policies actually are beneficial for people, but they make you feel good.
Right.
That you've sided with people. I'm being compassionate. No, you're not being compassionate. You're letting somebody live in a suicide rate that doesn't change and never go away. You're letting people live in very dangerous places, and universities are big on feeling. Now, yes, maybe they're like, you have to think this way and feel this.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make that point because I think that's a really good way for people to think about it.
No, I think you're right, and I think unfortunately that also happens with a lot of boomers right now.
Yeah,
they felt fear because they thought that Medicaid was going to be. They thought that Donald Trump was going to axe Social Security. And look, I get it. It's not the same as an entitlement program because you've paid in, but so has everyone else. And the numbers say we won't get it back unless something changes. And I'm telling you, like, we are seeing, it's not a good thing. We are seeing a real divide with boomers going like, well, you know what? Can't spend it once I'm dead.
Right.
Not sort of adhering to this idea of building generational wealth, and young people resenting them going, okay, if you need to be in a home, take care of yourself. None of that is good. None of that is good. I knew that younger people would become more conservative. I've been saying that back to 2009. I didn't know that older people would become more liberal. And that has created a real problem. That's really where you're seeing the lack of unity. That's where we need to find some common ground, because there should be something value-based. It doesn't have to be based on a lie, like us finding common ground with the left, who frankly are out of their minds. Speaking of which, Bill Burr today is going to be on The View. We've talked about him quite a bit because people like Nick and people who work here spent quite a bit of time with him. A lot of people have realized that he's shifted as a person. And by that, I don't just mean you change your points of view sometime. Okay, I understand that. I mean that he was a rough around the edges, sort of anti-authoritarian, rebellious comedian a while back. And now it just so happens that all of his viewpoints follow lockstep with the people in Hollywood where he happens to be residing. Let me make the case. We'll see what he says on The View. I'll give you my prediction. But as a reminder, here is Bill Burr when he was arguably one of the funniest men to walk the planet.
So at the end of the hour, they come to the logical conclusion. They're like, there is no reason to hit a woman. There is no reason to hit a woman. And I was just like, really? I could give you like 17 right off the top of my head. You could wake me from a drunken stupor, I could still give you like 9.
And on SNL, it's a joke about how SNL's not hiring agents. Also, now I'm in trouble?
Yeah.
We're not running for office. When is this gonna end? Is it millennials? You're a bunch of rats, all of you.
So does your wife watch any of these games with you? Does she?
No, she has the female, complex, multitasking brain. That's why they can't be happy. They're jealous how simple the male brain is, that you can just sit there and be entertained and find true happiness.
Okay. Whether you agree with him or not, those were difficult positions to take.
Right.
It was very funny. And he still can be very funny.
Yeah.
But his perspective has changed dramatically. I mean, this is a guy who talked about the Bilderberg groups and talked about Eyes Wide Shut parties, was basically Alex Jones as a comedian. He wasn't conservative, but he was deeply, deeply suspicious.
Yeah.
I want you to ask yourself the reason for it. Is it simply maturing, or is something else at play? Because here is Bill Burr now.
That idiot Elon Musk.
Oh.
That guy, like, he's going to, who evidently is a Nazi. Like, I just refuse to believe that it was an accidental 2-time Sieg Heil. Why do you think people are still in the Klan? 2024, and some guy yelled out, he goes, something to do! The reason why they still fucking exist is because they don't with white people. That's basically it. If they did to white people what the they've done to black people, how long do you think that stupid group would have been around?
These billionaires,
They need to be put down. You know, like fucking rabid dogs. They're like rabid with fucking greed.
Well, it's like Bernie dropped millionaire from his rhetoric.
Dividing everybody.
You know what I mean? Because some corporate had to give himself a fucking bonus check at the end of the year. What if we made it worse, but made it look the same?
Yeah.
Then could our pools be bigger? Free Luigi!
But CNN and Fox News are not going to bring up the insurance companies that are just going to keep everybody's premiums and still give themselves a bonus. Yes! Free Luigi! As a white person, you don't enjoy the Klan, right? You want to join a younger, hipper white nationalist group, right? Like the neo-Nazis or the Proud Boys, you know, with their little fades, you know, and their little okey-doke thing, they stick their pee-pees through or whatever the secret handshake is.
Now, here's the thing. It's not that he can't be funny. It's that he's accepting a premise that you know he's accepted from mainstream media, period. The idea that white supremacists are now named Proud Boys. Enrique Tarrio is one of the co-founders. I don't know if you've looked at him. Not particularly pale in contrast to Bill Burr. That's what I see. That's the issue that I see. My prediction, though, on The View, since he's going to be around a bunch of cackling white broads, he's going to be a contrarian and try and present the more politically incorrect perspective because he wants to keep a foot in both camps. But we'll see. We'll be on watch for that here throughout the day.
Stephen.
Sam, now we're live on Rumble. This is the lineup live on Rumble right now. You know that.
Oh, I'm quite aware of that, but I'm also aware of a very deeply offensive and problematic post that you put on the internet yesterday.
Which one is he talking about there? Is it?
Oh,
wait. Well, what is that? No, we put up. Hold on a second. We put up a post that was JFK redacted. It was a joke saying, tune in and watch. Yeah, there you go. It's a redacted post.
But upon further research, it's come to my attention that this is based off of a deeply offensive and flawed anti-Semitic caricature.
What?
This one.
That?
Oh, that looks like your cousin.
How do you know what my cousin Avner looks like?
Oh, is it Seder?
Where?
You were there.
I
know.
A
little bit too much Manischewitz.
Probably so. It happens all the time, though. Yeah. But
I didn't know that.
But Gerald,
yeah?
I'm very proud of you and your work on X. And if you keep up your good work, you'll be compensated for it, and you'll be a very good mensch.
I wasn't being.
That's enough. Out, Sam. We're doing a live show right now. Okay?
Whatever. I'm watching The View anyway.
Leave.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you.
Now people are gonna think I'm a shill.
Now he's taking the microphone.
Right. What is that? You don't own that.
My microphone.
What?
Yeah, I brought it from home.
Nothing.
He
like
didn't
a
bring it from home.
He doesn't even have a home.
Okay.
He lives
all right.
here.
So this has become somewhat of a controversy, I guess, out there, where people asking about this. Great that we have Laura Loomer on the show today.
You know.
She'll clear things up, I think.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm still confused. I don't know what that is.
It's time for a Crowder conspiracy. All right, so let me explain this to you out there. The timeline, okay? JFK files were out there yesterday, so we searched a basic we're like, we'll promote the show, say, hey, tune in at 11 a.m. Eastern, part of the Rumble lineup. So we searched basic template redacted files.
Right.
That's what came up, okay? Changed the caption, and we posted it to X. And then the comments started flooding in, and there were over 1 million views, because apparently that basic redacted file template was actually based on an anti-Jewish internet meme. Now, we really had no idea as to what was going on.
I've never seen that before.
We apologize, is what I would say if that wasn't the plan all along. No, we are not anti-Semitic, but this was 4D chess, a poison pill, if you will. See, we knew the anti-Semitic origins of this meme, and so we used it as a litmus test in which to reveal one's true colors, bad actors amongst us. So we used the meme knowing full well that the Blaze would plagiarize us, as the Blaze does, knowing full well that they are all too comfortable stealing content, even more so that they would be all too pleased to share what they well knew was an anti-Semitic dog whistle. So the real story here is that the Blaze hates Jews. Doesn't stop there. Now, to those who've done some digging, you may know that our work here is often coded. It has been for years.
No.
Decipherable only to those who have eyes to see. Take, for example, our simple tamale hand trap photoshopped yesterday. At first glance, merely appears to be a hilarious joke regarding an easy capture method for illegal Mexicans. But if you look closer, perhaps this one. And the fall from grace of Gerard Depardieu. Ooh, fun, innocent, almost inconsequential. But not everything is what it seems. Even our infamous yet innocent theme song here is not what it seems. Fun, jovial, catchy, gets in your bones. When played backwards, however.
Ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe.
So to those on the internet who accuse us of being both Nazis and shills for Israel at the same time, to you I say, correct. This has been a seditious conspiracy. By the way, I had to get it off my chest.
Yes, thank you.
To the new viewers coming in from Bongino, like some of the folks who listen to they're very confused. And it's okay, stay with us.
Sorry.
We'll get to the domestic terrorism segment in a bit. Best thing you can do, download the Rumble app. Download the app, follow us on Rumble. You're not going to be able to tune in live on YouTube anymore at all. This is all part of the lineup exclusive on Rumble. Download the app. Follow us. You only get notifications when we are live. Rumble owns live. YouTube's dead. Rumble did it.
Yes, and go to crowdershop.com. I like wearing like oldies but goodies. It's Christmas all year round with Donald Trump, but we've got some new merch out there. I think we've got Audit the Fed and Abolish the IRS, Change My Mind shirts. So go check those out right now at crowdershop.com.
Is it too late to hit the YouTube dump?
What? On me? Why would you do that?
What, on our conspiracy?
Yeah, that ship sailed.
Yeah.
You saw the ride and bought a ticket anyway, Josh. Come on.
We're going to do a whole segment, by the way, on anti-Semitism versus the accusation of anti-Semitism, because both are a problem. Both are a problem. Both are a problem. Like, here's my opinion, and we'll get into it more. Let me state a fact. AIPAC gives to far-left anti-American Democrats. Yes, that's a fact. Now, of course, they give to plenty of Republican candidates, conservatives, sure. But the fact remains, they give to far-left Democrats as well in 2025. My opinion, I don't like AIPAC.
Hey, there you go.
For the same reason I don't like Act Blue. You cannot be pro-America and support leftist Democrat politicians in 2025. That's a very reasonable position. By the way, I think many people hold that. Hey, I think Israel has the right to defend themselves. I hope that Hezbollah and Hamas are wiped off the face of the earth. Got it? But I'm not going to abandon my First Amendment principles, my pro-life principles, my Second Amendment principles for an organization that plays both sides of the fence. Ironically, the only thing on which I don't disagree with AIPAC is Israel. It's all the other crap that goes with it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if someone expresses an opinion, they're anti-Semitic. And then you have people who believe that the Jews are behind everything from JFK to, your ingrown toenail, which, by the way, get fixed. It's gross. We have health insurance.
Every single time you have to bring that up. Oh, here's another one. I think we should be sending less money over to Israel. Hey,
I think we should be sending less money to all the other nations who want to wipe them off the face of the map.
You could be both sides on that.
Yeah. How about we stop funding all sides of the war?
And you can be indifferent towards Jewish people or have no feelings about them or their race or their ethnicity or their religion.
Absolutely.
And still not like Israel.
Yeah.
It's a country, not a race.
People can have that. People can have those opinions. My problem with the Israeli government is that they're largely secular. And yes, I would be thrilled if Hamas, Hezbollah, and whatever Ayatollah, whatever form he's taking today, were turned into glass.
We'll send them
form
to the
of
virgins.
tiger.
Yes.
Send them to the virgins. They're waiting. Go.
Exactly. What are you waiting for?
We're doing you a favor.
Come on, guys. Do it. So let's go on to this right now. This has been a real problem, and Laura Loomer's been following it. She's really done some great exclusive investigative journalism work. Domestic terrorism is on the rise. Now, comment below if you've seen this. And if you remember when the left tried to tell you that the biggest threat as far as domestic terrorism were white supremacists in this country. Do you remember that? We're going to give you a little bit of then and now and some statistics, because right now, domestic terrorism, violence, political violence is rearing its head across this country all over again.
We gotta put a stop to these leftist terror groups. Time to put out the fire.
Targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
Gonna stamp down terroristic attitudes with an FBI.
Do you consider this an act of terror?
They're paid by people that are very highly political on the left.
All right. It's fun.
All right.
Sorry, we were having to fix some technical stuff, so I didn't get to watch it. I didn't get to enjoy it as much. But we saw it during run-through. This brings us back to Well, I guess I should say, not right here. Luckily, there's domestic terrorism, and we were prepared, thanks to the warning of our brave media and politicians, to deal with domestic terrorism.
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
Sorry, right clip, but let's
Let's now that's what I call prayer 24.
Who could forget this #1 hit? Hala Balala. Or this top 40 jazz gem. Hi-ya, country. Hi-ya.
Sounds like Michigan.
Yeah.
Saeed.
I was in Minnesota, by the way.
Yeah, it's okay. We have a lot of security. You know what? That was sort of to cleanse the palate.
Yeah.
Let's have an installment of Then and Now. All right. So, and all references are available, links in the description, as we do with every single show. Please go do your own research. Don't take my word for it, as LeVar Burton says. Is he gay? I don't know. I'll assume he is. Let's remember, back in the day, when, of course, they wanted you to believe that something, white supremacy, racism, homophobia, transphobia, insert phobia or ism here, the biggest threat to national security was domestic terrorism then.
A House committee met Wednesday to discuss the threat of white supremacy and the government's strategy to combat domestic terrorism.
According to the United States intelligence community, domestic terrorism from white supremacists is the most lethal terrorist threat in the homeland.
White supremacy is the biggest bucket of concern when it comes to
the biggest bucket is your beers at the table.
terrorism.
Director of Intelligence and Analysis and the FBI said the #1 domestic terrorist threat to the homeland was radical.
I warn you, this is a very long montage because I want to drive this point home.
Are terrorists because the FBI director has said it was an act of terrorism.
Don't dare call them protesters. They were a riotous mob, insurrectionists, domestic terrorists.
This extremism, this acceptance of coercion, of political violence or the threat thereof, of terror, of just insane harassment as a tactic.
I think they are now covering up for a president who is today a clear and present domestic security threat to every American. They're looking for very specific domestic terrorists. They're looking out for people who believe a very specific ideology, and it centers around a couple things. It centers around anger at COVID restrictions.
Rightfully
and who
so.
was raging against COVID restrictions while he was supposed to be protecting the country from
All
COVID.
free citizens?
Trump.
Goons and thugs, domestic terrorists.
The
But enough about your investment
liberate
portfolio.
Michigan. And then these Wolverine militia, domestic terrorist morons
Bruce Willis?
came up with this plot to
Well, that's
not
a
just
penis.
kidnap the governor. It really upsets me every time I hear someone talk about it's a plot to kidnap the governor. They were going to take her off in the woods in Wisconsin and execute her.
Bullshit.
Like Al-Qaeda style.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a problem when like 99.99% of those involved with the plotted kidnapping were feds.
Yeah,
So,
Al-Qaeda style or FBI style?
Yeah, exactly.
Which is it?
I sometimes I just have to go by the khaki shorts. FBI. Now, or the peak polo. Lacoste, you're a glowworm. So they were outraged back then. Again, that was propaganda. Some of those weren't even real, to be clear.
Yeah.
But this brings us to now, all across the country. And this is, to be clear, not by accident. This is not just grassroots. Laura Loomer has tracked the money, but we've also done quite a bit of research. And this is really just another step in a long-standing history of violence from the left. I will make this statement definitively. You can let me know if you disagree. Today's political left and the political left of the 1960s, all the way until today, has been notably more violent than the right. The left is more violent than the right. Comment if you disagree, because I'd be interested to hear your take. It's like school choice. I've never heard a valid argument against it when you look at the stats. Right now, we're dealing with swatting, we're dealing with Tesla dealerships, and individual owners under a concerted attack.
Federal agents are investigating a string of arson attacks on Tesla vehicles. Video shows the latest incident where 5 Teslas were set on fire in Las Vegas. Well, now Attorney General Pam Bondi is calling the attacks nothing short of domestic terrorism.
Why do you have to impede on people's regular life?
We're not doing anything. I'm coming to test drive a car.
Like, come on, bro. Dude. You know that'll just wash off, but your hand is going to be dirty for
Nothing like
hours.
perpetuating the original gross fat guy stereotype.
Yeah, it's true. It's the worst thing you can do. You're crap.
This victim wanted to remain anonymous, but his Cybertruck is one of 6 that were vandalized with swastikas and anti-Elon Musk phrases while it was being serviced at the Linwood Tesla dealership.
The guy got arrested.
These cars have cameras everywhere.
Yes, I know.
And they're bulletproof.
Oh, that's so much better, isn't it?
Starting to see this is not a one-off.
Someone shot at a Tesla dealership overnight. Employees discovered the damage this morning. At least 3 cars were hit and windows were broken. One bullet even went through an office wall and hit a computer.
See, that's the thing, too, the collateral damage. I wish I could tell you that no innocents were harmed, but tell that to Johnny 5. You don't know who you hurt.
Poor guy.
It's a shame.
And if
He
there
was alive.
if there happened to be any more proof that the left today is entirely emotive, okay, this is happening all across the country. All right, first off, someone give me a justification based on any of Elon's actions, who he has harmed. Right now, none of you have lost any benefit. Even those who believe in the entitlement programs, none of you have lost any of them. And there hasn't even been an official budget alteration at this point. He simply pointed out fraud and abuse. $500 billion on average each year of fraud, gone. So his great misdeed is opening up X to more free speech and trimming government bloat. Okay, let's assume that that's a great evil. That's a great sin, a stain on American history. You're going to fix it by vandalizing, torching, shooting innocent American car owners? Also, you're the same people who poured red paint on people for wearing fur and protest gasoline. These are electric cars.
I'd make the argument that it doesn't even matter what Elon Musk is doing. Like, you can hate him all you want, but the person who owns that Tesla, they didn't do anything. I mean, I would venture to say that the majority of Tesla owners probably vote Democrat.
Yeah.
Before a year ago.
The left doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Tim included.
And by the way, it's not an accident. Let me direct you to this. Tesla owners individually, not just dealers, not shareholders, owners are being targeted and doxxed, where folks are being encouraged to commit violent acts against them. There's a site called DogeQuest. Bring that up there, Noodles. DogeQuest. And let me show you, according to this page, which I believe it has been taken down now. It says, if you're on the hunt for a Tesla to unleash your artistic flair with a spray can, just step outside. No map needed. At DogeQuest, we believe in empowering creative expressions of protest that you can execute from the comfort of your own home. DogeQuest neither endorses nor condemns any action.
Jeez.
Cowards.
So why do that then?
Yeah. People can request their info, I guess, be removed now out there. If you have any proof out there that you've sold your Tesla, I'd be very careful with who you deal with as it relates to that right now, because the information can fall into the wrong hands. And this is when the left says, this is not the America I voted for. Donald Trump saying fight like hell. Let's ignore that he said peacefully and patriotically. Hey, this is not the America that we want to live in, where people need to fear random acts of violence because they bought the allegedly most eco-friendly car in history. You know why there are so many Teslas? Because of you, leftists with the subsidies, trying to get us off gasoline, fossil fuels. And now you start torching those.
Electric car mandates.
Yeah, you have proven, and by this, I mean the entire Democrat Party, and I mean the entire wing of progressive leftists today, you have proven that you should be at the tiller of no ship. You are incapable of being leaders because it's a movement based on emotion. And let me tell you this, as a Christian, your emotions, your feelings are evil. Your human nature is evil. It's selfish. That's why we need a God. That's what Christians believe, so that we can better ourselves through something greater than us, outside the left doesn't. The left has made themselves their own God. It is just sacrifice of the freedoms of other Americans, taxpayers, at the altar of self. have you actually thought about the person whose car you're torching? Do you care?
They got to replace that. They got to go to their insurance company. Now their rate's going to go up. The premium's going to go up.
Well, even worse.
And that's on a scratching. That's not even on a Molotov cocktail.
Yeah.
That's not even burning one up. That's not a dealership where there's a receptionist, a salesman, a mechanic.
Or being attacked while you're out driving around, perhaps with your family in the car. They don't really care about any of that. Think about the standard that this sets. If you want to go into government and try to do anything helpful, anything, they'll ruin your life. They will absolutely ruin your life. They'll dox your address. They'll make sure that your life is a living hell, that when they see you in restaurants, as the Democrats said, get in their faces, make it uncomfortable for people. Like, that is not the kind of America that we want. We can disagree on ideas, fine. I wish there was a way to support Tesla that didn't include having to buy a Tesla, because that's an expensive purchase to make for people. I wish there was another way, like something else. Sell something else, Tesla, so that we can go out and do a boycott of you guys.
Buy the stock.
That will buy the stock.
And I would, and I would, but I don't want a gay car. Now,
you like them.
they're fun to drive. I just don't want one as a main car.
No, doesn't make sense.
To be fair, now the left, I always have to give credit where it's due. The left, who were outraged at the idea of protesting, they referred to you as a domestic terrorist for protesting vaccine mandates or lockdowns. Perhaps you wanted to preserve your business, you terrorist piece of shit. They are being consistent now in condemning this actual kind of terrorism.
People have been vandalizing Tesla vehicles, new Tesla vehicles. Please don't vandalize. Don't ever vandalize Tesla vehicles. And so
if we kill the Tesla brand, if we drive down the stock price low enough, we can force him to sell his stock to pay back the billions of dollars of debt that he took on to buy Twitter. This will drive Tesla stock into a death spiral.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon.
Listen to the audience.
Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh?
Yeah, they turned on the applause sign, dummy.
On March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
Protests of Tesla started popping up in Philadelphia, Chicago, the Bay Area, Florida, Waikiki, New Zealand, and even France, where an angry Frenchman set a bunch of Teslas on fire. Say what you will about the French, but I guess they really don't like Nazis for some reason. Now, I'm not gonna lie, all of this has been pretty satisfying to watch.
Oh, really? Is it? By the way, that's the guy who did Adam Rudin's Everything. I think it was with College Humor, some kind of network. Keep in mind, for the longest time, he claimed to be, and they presented it as unbiased, as just the facts. And then the mask slips. You're happy that people are having their cars torched. You've really enjoyed it.
Fun to watch.
Fun to watch, yeah. Hey, you need more proof that the left, not all, but the left as a whole, as a political wing, is evil and violent. Not to be outdone, the dumbest take on X may have come from this person, Kyle Kolinsky, who posted this meme, right, where it's trying to point out hypocrisy, where it shows the right saying, boycott Bud Light, boycott Target, boycott the NFL, and then the left saying, boycott Tesla. Okay, there's a difference between boycotting and committing arson. And I thought maybe the context here was he was just supporting the boycotts and not supporting the violence. But then there was this Superman meme that went out there that shows Clark Kent in front of a burning Tesla factory. So I think the message there is pretty clear.
Walking away, not helping
You're
at all.
heroic to set things on fire and ruin businesses and lives.
Yeah, Tim Walz actually came out and said something about this as well. He said, if you ever need a little bump or like a pick-me-up during the day, you could just look at the Tesla stock. All while his pension fund, I think, is weighted at 3.5% in Tesla stock right now, or some small percentage, but a significant dollar amount. Like, so you want your constituents' savings to be ruined for retirement,
you want
just so you can feel good.
You want 80,000 Americans to be out of work, who, by the way, are building the only chance you have at gay electric cars.
I don't know if you saw Elon Musk's reply to that, though. He quote tweeted that, or quote posted that little speech by Tim Walz and said, every time I need a little boost, I look at J.D. Vance's portrait in the White House.
Yes.
Good for him. Good for him. Look, he's
and then
taking
people
shots,
say,
man.
it's unbecoming. We don't have the same...
How could he joke like that? He should have just burned the guy's car down.
Yeah. You know what? Hey, all right, we'll fight fire with fire on this one. I'm sorry. You guys went first. That's where we are at this point. And to those who are saying, hey, the people who I've just made fun of, will I give them a platform to come on and debate? Nope, not anymore. Not when you encourage domestic terrorism. By the way, people get more mad at jokes because Nick DiPaolo said, how many of us here hope that Nancy Pelosi's been using Roundup for the last 30 years? That's a joke. You saying that you're overjoyed over action. She hasn't been drinking Roundup for years.
Right.
Do you understand? Can we all start acting like adults here? A joke about someone perhaps dying in a funny way because you don't like them. You may not like it, but you can acknowledge it's a joke. It's not the same thing as praising actual acts of terrorism that are going on right now. This also proves it doesn't matter who you are, what you've done for them. The leftist mob will come for you no matter what when you haven't appeased them enough.
Not Fetterman.
Yeah, you said that for people on audio. People on audio are like, what is this?
It's John Fetterman. He is dressed as who you think he is.
Yes, exactly.
With a mob of pitchforks and torches.
It's for those on audio, it's the theater of the mind. But you should be watching live. It's the lineup on Rumble. We're no longer on YouTube starting on Monday because we are, you know what, we're tired of them. And YouTube, by the way, allows you to do this kind of crap unfettered. They don't allow jokes. So we're going to Rumble. No more YouTube coming Monday. Be a part. Start voting with your viewership and your dollar. We look forward to seeing you there. Here's let me give you a history lesson here. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, before you move on, I was going to say, the left keeps saying that, they keep complaining that they're calling it domestic terrorism. And I get that for some things like keying a car, okay, or spray painting. All right, that's something that can be vandalism. But setting it on fire.
Yeah.
Firebombing, the Molotov cocktailing in parking lots, in apartment complex parking lots, at your job parking lot, at your own home. How is that not terrorism?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're literally hoping that people don't buy Teslas in fear that their home where their kids sleep might be set ablaze.
That's a very important point. You're right, and they're actually trying to create fear. That's the definition of terrorism.
Terrorism
is to make you afraid.
Inciting terror, terror.
And in this country, it's trying to make you afraid in exercising your own freedom of decision. By the way, I would take it a step further. You key someone's car. If I'm a judge, that guy at least deserves an ass kicking. It's why also you'll never see me selling pepperball guns. You know why? Because I don't want to shift the accountability from a home invader to me. Yeah. Keeping them alive. Well, good news. You saved 2 lives that day. Well, shit, that sucks to me. One should be lost because he came into my house where my kids sleep.
And statistics show he'll do it again, so another life will be lost.
Yeah, down the road.
Exactly. No, I think someone comes in here. Lethality, please, if someone invades your home. Yeah. Someone damages your property, ass beating at least. Comment below if you think that's a little bit too traditional. I don't know why I'm moving my hands here like Donald Trump.
Just why?
What is it that you're talking about? The...
Pepperball guns.
Pepperball guns?
Yeah, you know what happens with that? You start promoting it, you go out and people, then you just need one prosecutor who goes, now, sir, you shot this man who entered your house who simply needed some money to pay his bills. You shot him not once, not twice, but 3 times. You could have used a pepper gun, but you didn't because you wanted to kill. And I look like an ass if my answer is,
Well, a pepper gun's not going to help you when you're shooting him in the back.
Right, yeah, exactly. How am I supposed to hit him at 80 yards away?
Yeah, when they're in your car driving away.
Officer,
what good is that going to do?
I fear for my life. May I take the shot at 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards? I need the green light.
Yeah.
50.
We're getting out of range. Look, and every one of these people, so some of those people have been arrested. This should be paraded everywhere now. The arrest, the sentencing.
You love
What
parades.
you lost.
I have to go through because we have Laura Loomer coming on, who's an expert on this subject. So let me just rattle through these in case people have doubted this. References available, link in the description. Noodles, be quick here with the collages. Okay, the left has always been on the side of extremism. Let me refresh your memory. The peaceful riots, peaceful protest during summer of 2020, $2 billion in damages, 60,000 officers assaulted. You may have forgotten of the St. John's Church fire, where they also tried to break into the White House. Remember that? Tried to break down fences. The occupations that you've seen at Columbia University, Hamas. Remember Chaz Chop? They took over an entire city block and claimed it as some kind of autonomous homeland for assholes. The political shootings, the attempted assassinations. You have Steve Scalise, who was shot by a Bernie bro at a baseball practice. You have Donald Trump, 2 assassination attempts. Let's look at school shootings. It's all white supremacy, right? Unless you look at the Covenant Christian school shooting, the Abundant Life Christian school shooting in Wisconsin, the Denver STEM school, Highlands Ranch shooting. Everything Antifa did, by the way. Remember all of the riots, people being shot, people being pepper sprayed. A man got shot in the head. I believe it was in Washington or Oregon. Or got a Trump supporter here. Bang, bang, bang. And then it's your fault for not trusting your institutions when the people who have killed American citizens and vandalized and terrorized your neighborhoods are described by FBI Director Wray as not really a thing.
We look at Antifa as more of an ideology or a movement than an organization.
Okay. Well, let's go through that movement, Antifa, and also expand a little bit wider. We're going to continue down this trail here. 2017, remember the inauguration riots that took place? You may have forgotten those. Businesses were damaged. Cars were burned. 129 of the 200 rioters had cases dismissed. But hey, trust your institutions. They were dismissed.
Jeez.
Following D.C. jury acquittals of the first 6 rioters, 129 out of 200 were dismissed. They burned cars. Let's go all the way back. No, this is new. These are just some extremists. Oh, you mean like the Weather Underground? You know the Weather Underground? 1971, they bombed Capitol. There were 25 bombings in total, including the Pentagon. And, oh yeah, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, one of the co-founders was Bill Ayers, with whom Barack Obama smoked crack in college.
Just for funsies.
It is funsies.
He smoked crack with this man and said he was a great political influence on him. Of course, met him in college. Go through all of those references. That's just what I could include right now before our guest spot. When the left says you're domestic terrorists, again, just understand it's projection. They're telling on themselves. When they call you racist, they're telling on themselves. When they say that you are anti-democratic, they're telling on themselves. You're racist. Okay, affirmative action. White privilege, black-only spaces. You're anti-democratic. Okay, installing a candidate who no one voted for, who came dead last in the primaries, and trying to change election laws to favor you forevermore, and granting amnesty. You're domestic terrorists. See the list that I just provided. And again, it's not accidental. This is a concerted effort, and there's more to it than just what you see. There is a money trail. And I know the problem is they will accuse you of being conspiratorial if you point out the money trail and if you mention Soros. Soros is not behind everything, but he certainly has some involvement here. And someone who has had the backbone to stand up and fight back and has done some great work is here to explain this more on the program. Hopefully we have her on the line. All right, it's time to bring on Laura Loomer. Ms. Loomer, thank you for being here. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can see you and hear you. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here. And by the way, where's the best place for people to follow you as you provide a lot of these receipts?
They can follow me on X at Laura Loomer, and then also on X at Loomer Unleashed. And then I have a show every Tuesday and Thursday on Rumble called Loomer Unleashed. So you can subscribe to my Rumble channel, rumble.com/Laura Loomer.
Oh, I like that mic stand. We need to get one. Gerald, why are you such a cheap bastard? I don't have a mic flag like that.
Sorry, bro.
Thank you, Laura. You're making
this is the Rumble studio here in Washington, D.C., because I'm traveling right now covering all of these violent protests. And so they have a great setup here. I actually tell them every time I come here, I wish that this was my studio.
Okay. Well, do me a favor. Just when you leave, just take that as a party favor and then ship us one if you see it. Because
I'm gonna shove it in my duffel bag. Don't worry.
Okay, good. I don't know how you'll do it through TSA though, because I'm a Rumble. This is one of those white supremacists, Jewish. Well, let's just put that away. So. Loomer, I want to make sure I have this right, and because I don't want to misspeak, and you have been plugged in here. March 10th, you dropped some receipts regarding the paper trail, right, of the Tesla protests. Explain to we're showing it right now, but explain to people watching and listening.
Yeah, so as people are well aware, there are a string of violent protests that are happening all across the country right now. And the organizers are, outsourcing it to people, not just here in all 50 states across our country, but also globally. And so they're encouraging people to have these pop-up Tesla takedown locations at either Tesla showrooms or Tesla supercharger locations. Okay. And one of the most violent protests that happened occurred in the meatpacking district in New York City a couple weeks ago, where members of the Sunrise Movement were on video literally getting arrested. And police say that some of them were vandalizing, using graffiti, breaking windows, and actually throwing Molotov cocktails into the windows of these Tesla showrooms in New York City. This prompted a statement by the Attorney General. It prompted a statement by President Trump saying that he was going to designate these protests as domestic terrorists. And so I started looking into the Sunrise Movement. And what I found is that they received funding from an organization called the 1630 Fund, which of course we know receives funds from George Soros and his organizations. Right. And then I was looking at the umbrella organizations that send large portions of funding to the 1630 Fund, and I found the Hopewell Fund. And I was replying to Reid Hoffman, who we all know is a Jeffrey Epstein associate and the founder of LinkedIn, in which he told Elon Musk, Elon, stop accusing me of funding these violent protests. I have nothing to do with it. And so I was able to show that Reid Hoffman actually donated to the Hopewell Fund, and the Hopewell Fund sent their funding to the 1630 Fund, which then sent funding to the Sunrise Movement. And then I received a legal letter from a lawyer who's representing the Hopewell Fund and the 1630 Fund telling me that I needed to delete my reports or they were going to sue me.
Right. They demanded retraction. And let me ask you, did you issue a retraction?
No, I'm actually about to. I just got off the phone with my lawyer 2 minutes before coming on this show with you. And we're sending a reply back to the lawyer. And we're not going to be retracting. In fact, we're demanding that they open up their financial records and show us the evidence that the funds have been completely dissolved. They're claiming that the money was already spent, the $500,000 that they donated. And then I was able to uncover another $950,000 that they donated to the Sunrise Movement. And so we're demanding that they show us financial evidence that proves that all of those funds that they dispersed were completely dissolved before I issue any type of clarification. Because look, this is an intimidation tactic. Obviously, I'm over the target because, these are the most well-funded leftist slush funds that are used by Soros and the radical left. The lawyer who they sent after me actually represents Hunter Biden as well. I don't think that it's a coincidence that I'm getting this letter literally 2 days after my exclusive report from South Africa caused President Trump to revoke Hunter Biden's Secret Service detail. Also, this lawyer represented Fusion GPS, which we know was the firm behind the Salacious Steele dossier, which led to the Russia collusion hoax. And so I'm one of President Trump's biggest advocates and fighters, and they're sending their lawfare operatives after me to silence me in my independent journalism.
Well, the good news is if he was Hunter Biden's lawyer, you now have a beeline as to where to go for some good crack. Gerald, you have a question.
I'm really
and
hopeful.
Toolman, can you move her up on my monitor a little bit just because she's a little bit low?
Yes.
As far just a little higher. Sorry, Laura, that's not a you thing. That's Toolman. We'll admonish him later. You're like, I'm looking down on my monitor. Okay, Gerald.
I'm just really hopeful that you included a Xerox of your middle finger in your response to the lawyers.
Please tell me you did.
Because if you need one, I'm sure Chris Pavlovsky has some laying around. He sends them to other nations very frequently. So just ask him.
I probably
for one.
should. That's a good idea. I should probably do that and then attach it as the attachment. So I'll ask my lawyer to amend the documents and include an exhibit.
It may not be advised, but it'll be good.
See Exhibit A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Yes, exactly.
And don't forget you. Got to add the U in there.
By the way, Exhibit B is just a Xerox of his giant balls.
That's true.
Chris Pavlovsky
You
at
don't send
Rumble.
that to just anyone.
No.
So it sounds like this shell game is basically going on here with Reid Hoffman funding these other groups that fund groups that they basically are hoping that nobody does the math on. It sounds like the USAID NGO scheme that was basically going on. Is that what you're finding? That people are just trying to hide their donations for these kinds of groups just by using something disconnected?
So that's exactly what we've uncovered. And the fact is when people look for donations and they want to understand the extensive funding networks within the radical left, they have to understand that there's umbrella organizations, and it's like an octopus with multiple tentacles. You have the head of the octopus, and then there's all these different funding sources that the money gets dispersed to so that people can wipe their hands of it and say that they had nothing to do with it. This is the same way that Reid Hoffman also funded the anti-Trump litigation, the E. Jean Carroll case, right, which was uncovered during the campaign season. And so it's really interesting that they're so focused on my reporting on Reid Hoffman, because my concern is, well, if Reid Hoffman thinks that this is defamatory, how come Reid Hoffman's lawyers aren't the ones sending me this legal demand letter? It's kind of weird, right? Like, don't you think it's weird how they're accusing me of tortious interference? So it makes me wonder if Reid Hoffman actually contacted these groups inquiring about the funds when I posted this very viral tweet that Elon Musk himself retweeted and also engaged with publicly. And I'm sure that it was very humiliating to Reid Hoffman because I ended up quadruple ratioing him. So how else could they say that I'm committing tortious interference? They're trying to say that I'm tortiously interfering with their Democrat mega donor, and they are very angry. And I assume that I am over the target because every single day people are calling out the left and their funding of these violent protests, but not everybody is receiving legal demand letters.
Right, that's true, and I would imagine that you experience this all the time. Like I've talked with people, who do online content. We do a pretty big operation here, of course, with our investigative journalism unit, and I tell them, like, look, our second biggest line item beyond salary for staff is legal. We have to, and a lot of people go out there sometimes and they're quite careless, right? It seems like, unfortunately, it all gets tossed into the same pot where someone like you is doing your due diligence. You've really broken a lot in recent weeks, and of course, you run into the problem where people repost it and rip it and don't give you credit.
Yeah, I mean, that happens all the time, especially because, I'm an investigative reporter. I'm an independent reporter. I don't have multi-million-dollar studio equipment, and I don't have millions of dollars of funding behind me.
Yeah.
I'm doing this on a shoestring budget, and I'm trying to make the most impact I can with my tenacity and my courage and my stamina on a daily basis. But it's very difficult. And so now I'm going to have to go out there and go raise a legal fund because I'm going to have to pay lawyers and prepare for the inevitable if they do decide to sue me, because I do think that it's a righteous fight to engage in. And the one benefit of engaging in lawfare with the Hopewell Fund and the 1630 Fund is discovery. I will then be entitled to their financial records to see their donor information if they are trying to dispute my reporting about their donor information.
Well, I'd like to get into this a little bit more, Laura. If you just stay with us right now, this is part of the lineup, and we are going to send people over. If you're not a Rumble Premium member right now, free members, you just continue watching Tim Pool. If you want to continue watching with Laura Loomer, another full 45 minutes to hour of the show, join Rumble Premium. Click that button below. $99 annually. You get us. You get Donald Trump Jr. You get Nick DiPaolo. You get 100% more show. You get everything ad-free. Free folks, go to Tim Pool. Rumble Premium, continue with us, where we get up close and personal with Laura Loomer. But it'll be appropriate. I have to go pee-pee. I'll be right back.